Hi, I'm Michelle Fondin, and you should give me a rose.
No, I'm Mathieu Fondin, and you should give me a rose.
This is On a Cloud, a mother and son bachelor podcast, and welcome to episode 7 of On a Cloud.
Delayed episode 7.
We're really sorry about this delayed episode, but we really felt it was necessary to move closer to the action of where The Bachelorette is actually filmed.
Get absolutely bent. Yeah, Mom's moving to California, and we spent the past few days avoiding our entire house of everything inside of it.
It was totally crazy, and we were really overambitious in the thought that we could actually roll out this podcast on time, and we didn't. So now it is Saturday. At least that gives you a couple days before the next episode to enjoy this episode of On a Cloud.
Yeah, it's not as fresh in our memory. Mom said that one of the perks might be that we might be loopy enough that we'll be a little funnier in the podcast.
Yeah, we're a little tired. We're a little tired from all the heavy lifting and the moving, but this week we saw Becca and the boys in a very special city. Not one of my favorite cities, but a very special city.
Well, how many times have you gone to this mystery place?
Once.
Oh, really? Just
Actually,
once?
Twice. I was there when I was 15, but it was by mistake.
What?
Our train derailed, and if you haven't guessed yet, and if you haven't seen the episode, we're going to both at the same time say the line that we most heard during this episode.
Said it constantly.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Vegas, baby!
Yeah, so...
My wife!
I was...
What's an Austin Powers line? That also sounds like Austin Powers.
I don't know. I'm not really familiar with Austin Powers.
Baby.
When I was I think I was 14, my dad and I and Annette's my sister, we took a trip to the West Coast via Amtrak train. Mm-hmm. And we came down through California, and we were moving back up through Las Vegas to Denver, Colorado, and our train derailed at Las Vegas.
Yikes.
So we had to stop in the Las Vegas Amtrak station, which was kind of like a mini casino. Mm-hmm. And we were there for several hours, and of course...
But I assume all establishments in Vegas are casinos. Like, you go into the McDonald's, you input $2, you pull a slot machine, and you get apple slices, and you're like, oh, come on. I wanted a McFlurry.
Yeah, so I guess that wasn't an official time being in Vegas, but I did go there for my 30th birthday. And while I like the shows and everything, the architecture is really beautiful, but it just felt filthy.
Yes. Kind of on brand for your boyfriend at the time, but I'm sure you weren't necessarily a fan. But yeah, so they go to Las Vegas. It's pretty. It's a pretty city. I can say that about it.
Yeah, and they came out with these cheesy lines throughout the entire episode.
Oh yeah, as soon as they got there, Becca gave the omnipresent, "This is the perfect place to fall in love."
We're gonna roll the dice on love. Let's take a gamble.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so in this episode, we saw one one-on-one date.
Yes.
Then a
group date, and then a 2-on-1.
The
ever titular 2-on-1.
And we knew from the promo that we were going to have that 2-on-1.
Yup, and the 2-on-1 is, of course, between Tia and Crystal. No?
No, that's a wrong season.
Brian and Brooke.
Brian and Brooke.
No, it's David and Jordan.
Yeah, of course, it's David and Jordan.
But, all right, first let's start with
won? Guess who won?
Shut up.
Guess who won?
Shut up.
Okay.
But then we're not even there yet.
I know, I'm just
excited.
It's a little teaser.
All right, but you're jiggling your chair like you got ants in your pants. All right, so first we get a little one-on-one with Colton.
So Colton, if you remember, was the dude who had a little smoochy session with Tia prior to even being on the show. It wasn't really a girlfriend-boyfriend thing, right?
Well, he was with Tia, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm just reminding the audience of who Colton is.
But why are you saying it wasn't a girlfriend and boyfriend thing?
Well, because they said they were not boyfriend-girlfriend. Tia and Colton were not
boyfriend-girlfriend. They just boned down?
Not even. They just had little smooches here and there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that they clarified to that point.
Yeah. So Becca goes on the one-on-one with Colton. So Colton and Becca, they go riding on camels.
Yeah, they go riding on camels.
They go on a camel safari.
This kind of sucks. I mean, it seems like it's fun, but it seems like it'd be fun for married couple.
Or
because
like
the camels drift apart.
Couples.
No. If you're gonna
maybe not old couples, you might break a hip on that camel.
Mom, I mean more that, you know, it's something that like young fresh travelers would do to experience it for themselves and with each other. Not so much because like the camels start drifting apart and they reach their arms towards each other like, no, they're taking us away. And they do indeed.
So if you've ever ridden a camel,
which Mom has apparently, I found this out during the episode. Mom has ridden a camel.
It's extremely uncomfortable.
Really?
It's really, yeah. It's not horseback riding. Again, if you've ever been horseback riding, you know that like it really takes a lot of muscular work to stay on a horse. But camel riding is just really uncomfortable because they kind of jostle a lot. So it's this uneven pattern of walking.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
That makes you kind of sway to the right and to the left, and it's a little uncomfortable.
Horses are kind of made for lowlands versus the fact that camels are made for, you know...
The sand
in, like, hilly deserts.
And they have to go over sand dunes and things like that.
And also they have a big, giant bump on their back that really isn't made for sitting.
It wasn't a super romantic beginning to the date, but they did it.
They did.
They did.
It happened. And then afterwards, they went to a hot tub in the middle of the desert, and Mom commented on the fact that they just kind of unearth hot tubs everywhere in these kinds of dates,
really weird. In the Bachelor series, they always tend to have a one-on-one date with a hot tub in the middle of a place where you would never see a hot tub. Like with Rachel's season, wasn't it in the middle of like Copenhagen or something like that? In the middle of the square.
Something like that, yeah.
It was a weird thing,
like,
right?
Ari brings a girl into the Library of Congress, and he's like, oh, here's the hot tub in the Library of Congress.
It was very strange, but they got all smoochy in the hot tub.
Yep.
For the evening portion...
she says she likes him, I think.
She really likes Colton. In the evening portion, I don't even remember the evening portion. I remember she had a shimmery dress. It seemed throughout this entire episode, because it was Vegas, she had some sort of sequenced, sparkling dress.
It was a nice dress.
It was very beautiful. And every single dress was beautiful that she wore on this show, on this episode of...
Yeah,
the Las Vegas.
I think Becca's clothes tend to be winners beyond the one that you commented on.
Right. The first one, after the final rose of Ari's season, that dress was horrid, but...
Yeah, we will not be commenting on suits as much, I don't think. Except for Will's suits. Will's suits are wonderful.
Will's has very creative clothing. So, yeah, Becca, she had a beautiful dress. So do you remember the evening portion of Colton's date?
Not at all. However... I do remember at the beginning of the day we had a little transaction on the fact that there was a big sign that said Virgin River. And we saw during the promos that one of the boys is still a virgin?
But okay. I can't remember who it is.
And also, this creates a timeline issue because Jordan does comment on the person being a virgin. So maybe this was just edited out of an episode at some point. Oh, maybe. Whatever the case.
Interesting.
It was extremely obvious. It was like a perfect cut to it for some reason. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they did flash it. They did flash the Virgin River sign, so...
anyways, so, yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. It's possible that Colton... is still over. I think Colton's a lot younger than Becca.
Yeah, I think so as well. There's also just this... Man, I don't remember what they talked about. I thought it was a good date.
It was a good date. It was a good evening portion of a date. I just don't remember it at all.
We almost watched the episode one Gregorian week ago, so maybe that's just part of it. But also maybe it just wasn't
super memorable.
Because Mom didn't take notes on it. I didn't take notes on it.
Yeah, so it wasn't super memorable. But there was a group date after that, which was pretty memorable.
Ugh.
To the fact that we don't understand why the producers are choosing these specific dates having to do with songwriting. What is the deal with that?
It's an extremely unpleasant experience. It was, okay, I'm gonna say, it's bad for a group date. I think it's way, way worse for a one-on-one date.
Especially at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
That would be a good one-on-one date for the end of the season.
Would it, though? I think know. Whatever the placement, I would never want to write a song and sing for my beloved if I'm not confident in my songwriting abilities.
Yeah, so on this group date, Becca says, I'm looking for Mr. Las Vegas, and out comes Mr. Wayne Newton, who I had no idea.
There's a phenomenon, by the way, in psychology where I think it's with dancing, where if you're a good dancer, your partner perceives you as more attractive. If you're a bad dancer, they perceive you as less attractive. So it's kind of a gamble whether. I think I'm one of those people that would judge a man by the way he can dance. Yeah, no, but it's not, like, serious or anything, but I thought you were like, I'm one of the good dancers. It's like, everyone in the room.
Well, I think I am, but...
Get that.
That's just because I have a dance background, though.
Yeah, sure. But no, I feel like with songwriting, it's kind of the same way, where if you do well at it, it's a definite winner, because it's like, ooh, creativity, and it flows well. And if you do poorly, you just stand up there and mutter.
It's a lot harder to do songwriting than it is to dance, because dance is kind of innate in body and rhythm and music. Well,
you never seen me dance. You never seen me dance.
Well, I mean, in general, I think if you can let go of your inhibitions, I think that dancing comes easier than songwriting.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yes, if I were to rate it, definitely. So yeah, Mr. Las Vegas. Okay, I don't know who he is. However, in the game Fallout New Vegas, which takes place in post-apocalyptic Las Vegas, there is a radio announcer named Mr. New Vegas who sounds a lot like this guy, and I'm thinking might be a parody of him.
If you don't know who Wayne Newton is, you are not alone.
Nor we. We do not either.
He apparently wrote or sang or both. I'm not sure. The song Dankeschön, and if you're not certain of what the song is, it's Dankeschön, darling, Dankeschön, and I recall.
It's the one from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Central Park and Fall.
There you go.
You tore your dress. What scene is it from? Oh no, he sings on top of the parade.
On top of the, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a song from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, well, it isn't the song from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It is in
What is
Ferris
the song from Ferris?
Well, meaning like, it wasn't written for the movie, I'm sure.
Well, no, but if I thought of one song from Ferris Bueller, it would be that.
So they all had
except boom, boom, chicka, chicka, chicka.
Oh, yeah.
That's extremely good.
That was probably the best. So they were all commissioned to write songs for Becca.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's
replacing the lyrics of Dankeschön with their own lyrics to the same tune.
Okay. Credit to the boys. It seems like a very hard song to parody because it only has 2 lyrics for the hook and then very little bridge.
It's so crazy. And so these men, man, oh man,
can't sing.
They can't
songwrite.
They cannot write songs. It was pretty bad.
Rough stuff.
It was brutal. So there were a couple of funny bits in the songwriting. Connor wrote a song about throwing the picture in the water. And of course, we're referring back to Lincoln's picture with Becca.
Yes.
From that first episode.
Mm-hmm. The songwriting portion was a little sad because it was mostly Mr. Las Vegas going around making fun of people.
Oh, yeah. And he was like, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. And then off camera,
he's like, they're terrible.
Yeah, he was like, they're awful.
The song singing portion is the kind of thing that makes my body weak and sensitive. And when you ask me a question, I can't respond with anything but, I hate this over and over again.
So uncomfortable. With the exception of one guy, his name is Chris. We saw him on a one-on-one date, writing a song at Capitol Records and having a total panic attack over it.
Right.
I don't know what happened in this episode.
And his song wasn't very good in that either. Yeah. So the fact that he actually
turned it around in this episode.
It did really well.
And he performed well.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like night and day. It was very strange. I was like, why were you having a panic attack when you were one-on-one with her, but now in front of a group of guys?
Well, whatever the case, he gets all confident at the end, and he sweeps Becca up on stage, and he sings. Everyone applauds for him, and he's like, I did it. And we're like, hey,
you did it.
Chris did pretty well.
Yeah.
Boy, we're bad judges of character, huh?
Oh, yes.
So anyways, we won't go into that yet.
That date finishes with the after party where Garrett picks up Becca first.
Yes.
And they're in this kind of hockey arena? They're in some type of arena.
Yeah. No, it's very weird because there are jump cuts. The boys are sitting on a couch indoors, and then she's taking the boys to up in this huge skylight.
It's like a stadium. Yeah, it's like stadium seating, right? Yeah. It's stadium seating of some sort of venue, like stadium or hockey ice rink or something.
I don't know. Vegas is weird. Everywhere just kind of looks like a strange fantasy land to me in Vegas, so I can't really say for sure what it is.
Yeah, so during the whole after party, Chris was bragging the entire time about being the best singer and about winning the group date rose.
He makes an absolute stink about the fact that Becca isn't pulling him aside. And he's like, ugh, I'm sure it's coming. She's saving the best for last. I did so good.
I was better than all you dudes.
I was a great singer. And like...
He's like, I blew you guys out of the water. Which, okay.
He's right.
Are you serious, though? But are you going to say that to the other men?
He's right, comma, this is not the singing game where you sing and win the girl
Exactly.
good. Nor is it the mud sports game where you do the mud sports good and get the girl good.
It's not American Idol.
Yeah, this is the game where you woo and flirt with the girl and get the girl.
And so it's not because you won at American Idol that you automatically get the girl.
Exactly.
It's because you are showing that you care and you're actually spending time with her.
He won one tiny portion of the game and then said, I've won the game.
So he gets all arrogant and cocky and he's sitting on the couch like boasting and saying like, why isn't she coming over to me? I shouldn't have to go to her. She should come to me.
Yeah.
And she doesn't.
Oh yeah. And then she goes out with Blake and she comes back with Blake and they're like, she was gone for 45 minutes?
Of a cocktail party?
What are they do? Because they can't go on their phones, right? You're not allowed to go on your phone.
Right, they don't have any social media devices. They're just chit-chatting. I don't know, and smooching maybe.
They've got... The boys are smooching?
Oh, you mean the boys?
I meant, what are the boys doing?
I thought you meant like Blake and Becca. I can guess what they might be doing.
If the boys are smooching, pan over to the boys more. I'd much rather watch that than listen to Chris talk about himself and Blake schmooze on Becca.
Okay, I meant Blake and Becca. Right?
Anyways, yeah.
So
I have no idea what the boys are doing during these 45 minutes.
Blake
it must be so boring.
comes out to Becca and says, I'm falling in love with you. And she doesn't say it back, but she says it off camera.
Yeah, she seems really, really charmed, yeah.
Not off camera, but off, what is it, like, to the side, to the producers.
Yeah, in the mockumentary section of the...
to the producers. So she says, like, yeah, I am falling in love with Blake. And so basically what's hilarious is that we get jump cuts to Chris saying, like, she's gonna come for me, and Becca comes out and she goes, so, boys, this has been a really long night. I think I'm gonna cut it off here.
I think I'm ready to give out the rose. And then Chris is like, saw it coming. And then she's like, Blake? Hey, Blake, how's that rose? And then Chris is like, oh, okay. Now here's the thing. Afterwards, Chris says something that's like, oh, okay, you're off the show. Because, like, up until now, he's been acting, like, kind of cocky and crappy, but that's not really unusual for someone that wins one of those challenges. Like, you know, Lincoln was all puffed up and chuffed during the wedding days.
Yes.
But he's still here. Now, that said, Chris afterwards said, man, Becca's gonna have to really make it up to me if she wants me to stay on the show.
It's so ridiculous.
Hey, bud, that's not how it works at all. She has the pick of the litter of, like, 19 other very, very hot men. She's not gonna, like, pull you aside and seduce you into staying on the show.
So ridiculous. See, now, okay.
Because you're a good singer.
When we see the seasons of The Bachelor, you get women that are like this, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The women are like, I don't chase men. Men chase me. Okay.
Well, guess what?
That might be a valid point, but not on this show.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's lunacy.
It's a competition. You are in direct competition with other women on the show. If you are a man on The Bachelorette, you are in direct competition with other men on the show.
Yep.
You have to show up for that.
No, definitely. Like, it's not only can you not phone it in, but you definitely can't expect them to chase after you. Like,
you cannot get cocky on this show.
There's another thing in psychology is the fact that there's a measure of fidelity that can be measured by, like, the amount of weight you have in your relationship, like how much you have staking on it.
Yeah.
And one of the main factors is availability of other partners or alternatives, which I think I talked a little bit about with Ari, where he made sure that...
What do you mean, like, availability of other partners?
Well, okay, if, let's say that, like, you are married.
Yeah.
And then you have a very close friend to you who you feel very compatible with, who is, like, suddenly flirting with you, kind of.
Right.
You're much more likely, which, you know, sounds like an obvious statement in hindsight, but with her and 14 other dudes, even if, like, let's say this was Garrett, and Garrett's like, she's gonna have to come to me. Unless they're really, really close and she really feels it with Garrett, she's gonna be like, I got, like, 20 other dudes who are all screaming my name every single time I step out of any vehicle.
Right. So why would I go with you if you're acting all cocky about it?
Exactly.
Plus, you know, women like a little bit of arrogance / self-confidence. Maybe,
I don't think... Well,
a little bit. A little smidge, right? It's almost better than being super insecure.
No,
right? A little smidge.
Yes, I think
women...
confidence, arrogance, I don't know.
See, like, I always...
You say women. I think women is mostly mom. Michelle Fondin is women in this situation.
No, I mean, I think, like... okay, self-confidence. But self-confidence is kind of like knowing that you're a good pick, but not, like, overly self-confident or overly arrogant to the point that you're self-centered about it, is what I was trying to say.
Sure. That I can get behind.
Okay.
Anyways.
Then, so some of the men are just beside themselves because they really didn't get a lot of talk time with Becca during the group date, but she decides to cut it off, give Blake the rose, and say goodbye and good night.
Yep.
And she said, I have to get to bed early because I'm very concerned about my date tomorrow. And her date on that next day...
Well, before we do that... So we've got a little 2-on-1 coming up, and for those of you who have not listened to our first episode or don't know what a 2-on-1 is, 2-on-1s are battle royales basically, where two contestants fight it out, one of them emerges, that's the ball game.
And one of them dies.
One of them dies. Yeah, no, there's always a couple. One of them dies. I've never seen a 2-on-1 where both people make it out. They're almost exclusively...
No. The whole point and purpose of a 2-on-1 is that at least one goes home.
Yeah, it's always like the climax of the villain's story arc. Once they're done with the villain, the 2-on-1 is to eliminate them from the show.
And that's it. And typically there are only 1 2-on-1 competition dates per season. Sometimes there are 2.
Yeah.
It depends. They're really unpleasant for the Bachelor or Bachelorette.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're less unpleasant for the contestants. I mean, they are still, but usually these 2 contestants have been battling it out for weeks.
Well, yeah, and mind you, it's unpleasant for them because we get, a 2-minute cut of the Bachelor Bachelorette during the whole day, and they're like, this sucks. And then the rest of the entire date is just the other 2 boys fighting.
So to that end, we're going to do a little bit like we did last week.
Yeah, we're going to do a little segment. This segment is called Make Up a Villain.
Make up your villain.
Do you want to go first or should I go first?
So what is it exactly? If I were to pick an ideal villain, who would that villain be? Or what would be the...
You have to... Okay, this is an improv game where you make up your villain from scratch.
Okay.
I will demonstrate.
Please do.
Hey, I'm Bruce. I'm 45 years old. And I've got so much Botox in my body, I can barely move my arms and legs. And then it's going to cut to him, and he's holding 2 giant soccer balls, and he's polishing them with, the shiny rub. Now listen, the one thing I hate more than anything is other men stepping in on my girls. The only thing I hate worse than that is John Cena, the worst wrestler. That's right, I'm in pro wrestling. And then it's going to show him getting sweaty and oily and banging down some other men. And he's like, oh, I tell you what, when I see those boys stepping on my girl, I'm going to slam them to the ground and German suplex them. So that's Bruce.
That's Bruce?
Bruce is the villain on, whose season?
Oh, was this an actual villain?
No, this wasn't.
This is a hypothetical villain.
Yes, this is a hypothetical villain. Oh, man. Okay, that raises a good question, though. Who's going to be our next batch?
I don't know.
Well, I guess we have to see who wins first.
We're
Anyways,
getting ahead of ourselves.
Who's your villain?
Oh my gosh. Does it have to be a male villain or can it be a female villain?
I think we should do male for this season. We can always do a female villain next season.
Oh my goodness. Wow, this is really hard for me.
Not a huge improv gal, huh?
I'm not a huge improv gal. I'm more of a reflective
The voice
type
will
person.
help.
Oh my gosh.
Try a funny accent. Something like that. That could do it.
Okay, so... Hi, my name is Klaus, and I am a butcher from Pittsburgh.
Wow, he sounds so evil already. Nothing's more evil than butchers. Go on, Mom. You've got him wrapped. You got him ready for it.
I love the meat, and every day I open up a cow with my bare hands.
Oh my god, Klaus is really strong. Can we get a cut of this, please? And then cut to Klaus tearing open a live cow's belly.
I want to show Becca the insides of the cow because it is very fascinating. And I make the cuts, and I make a special cut of meat for the Becca.
Oh
now, any other man who gets in my way, I will throw the cow guts at them.
You kind of went Indian there at the end. Klaus started German and then finished Indian. That's a good mix, though. Boy, Klaus is way better than Bruce. I feel like he's not a villain now. I kind of want Klaus to win now.
And
oh, you're crying.
for the morning time,
No. Is he going to talk about fantasy suites?
No, not yet. For the morning time, I brush my teeth with the cow bristles on his back.
It's okay. That's good, though. He's like the Native Americans. He uses every part of the cow. All right, I think we're done with Klaus.
If Becca were in the fantasy suites with me, I would make the leather blanket for us to get down on.
Okay, you're joking, but Klaus sounds like a very handy and excellent husband. He could build you a house out of cow ivory exclusively. Anyways, we need to move on. But thank you, Mom. This is an excellent segment, and wow, you beat the snot out of mine. Mom wins the segment if we have a winner.
I think the accent helps.
I think the accent helps. Anyways, all right. So the 2-on-1. The 2-on-1 is between our real villains, Jordan and David. And I say villains because David is absolutely also a villain.
David,
so when it starts, Becca's like, this isn't going to be like other 2-on-1s. I'm going to make this just be about these boys and my relationship with them and how that goes.
Getting to know them.
Getting to know them.
I'm very optimistic about this.
I am. So they drive up in the dune buggy, and one of them has to sit in the front seat with Becca, and one of them has to sit in the back seat.
And they're in they're in the Valley of Fire.
The Valley of Fire,
Kind of like Death Valley. They're like literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, in the desert.
And they have this little like cabana, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And brush.
And one amethyst
tumbleweed?
Stone next to the rose.
Oh, that's right. There's a big amethyst.
Mom saw it and she was like, oh, amethyst, because Mom really likes amethyst.
Well, I thought they were trying to create this very zen and peaceful environment and something that was not going to be so zen and peaceful.
How'd that work out? To be fair, it would have been a really nice little cabana if it hadn't been, kill other boy time. So when the second she's like, I'm going to make this be all about these boys and my relationship with each of them, and it's going to be not like other 2-on-1s. It's going to be peaceable. David pulls her aside and says, Jordan's a jerk! And he immediately goes into a 5-minute tirade about how much
Jordan's
Jordan
not here for the right reasons, and he's a jerk, and he's horrible, and he's not a nice person, and he said that you were the fallback girl, or that he would be settling.
He said that while we were in Vegas, he was looking at other ladies, and he was like, I'm kind of settling for Becca or something.
Yeah.
Now, okay, fun fact, this is a lie, and we know it's a lie, because A, David's a really crappy liar.
Yes.
I was going to swear there. Should we do like beep whenever one of us swears?
I don't think we can do that, so let's not swear.
Okay. Are you saying I don't think we can do that? Or I don't think Mom has the editing capability?
I don't have the editing capability to do that.
Gotcha. So David's a horrible liar, and he's like, oh, well, we'll go into that afterwards. Jordan has never said that, because we would have definitely gotten to a cut to it. Because they've cut every time Jordan has said something even remotely silly or egotistical.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan gets more camera time than anyone on this season thus far.
And this is the first time I've actually seen, like, the villain get villained.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
It is very strange.
I'm not against it, because it made me like Jordan even more than I already kind of do, because Jordan goes to Becca, and Becca says...
So, I need to talk with you, because David says that you said that, and she's really upset. She's like, you can see she's physically upset. She's
she's mad about it.
Because I think that was pushing her buttons from Ari's season, where she said that one of the gals was saying that Ari was settling with Becca because she was the safe choice. Versus Lauren B.
It wasn't one of the girls. It was Lauren friggin' B that said that.
Oh, Lauren B
said that he was settling for Becca.
Oh, okay. I thought it was one of the remaining gals
which
that had said that.
Which is way worse, because look who Ari ended up with.
Right. So that was a real touch point for Becca, like pushing her buttons. And so evil David was pushing Becca's buttons by saying this about...
We're not... Listen,
like,
Mom.
Seriously.
We're not like a biased news network. Evil David and good hero knight angel Jordan.
No, Jordan's not an angel.
Anyways. But yeah, now, who also seems upset by this is Jordan, who's like... What the heck? I never said that to you. And this is where Jordan seemed the most like a real contestant to me. Where
he seemed like actually vulnerable, like super vulnerable.
Well, and also because like it was a bold-faced lie, and him trying to defend himself by saying like he's putting words in my mouth.
Yeah, and like Jordan literally, he was starting to cry. Like he had tears in his eyes because he was like, I can't believe that he said that to you.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm tired of him picking on me. And then he goes into like this whole vulnerability thing, like talking about his past and how he grew up.
And how his mom had a mental illness and things like that. And
how he grew up, like, they were really, really poor when he was a kid. Yep. And like, I don't know if his dad left, or he didn't seem to talk about a dad, but then he said like, everything that I've gotten in life, I've had to work really, really hard for.
Yep.
And like, nothing has been handed over to me. And for someone to say that about me, that I would be this type of person that would be so low, is to say that.
And then to the camera, he's like, that's the worst thing you can say to a woman. And I'm like, there are probably some B words and C words that come to mind that are worse things to say to women.
Exactly. But, you know, so there is this tender moment where Jordan really opens up to Becca from a genuine standpoint. And I think it's the only time in the season that we have seen Jordan in a place of vulnerability. It is the only time in the season we've seen Jordan open up.
I you know, come to think of it, I feel like Jordan has actually been getting other people villaining him a lot.
Yeah.
Because do you remember when Colton came up to him and called him some bad word that was edited out?
Oh, that's right. That was bleeped out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And got really mad at him.
And Jordan just walked out.
Yeah,
he was like
he
so
just
upset.
left.
And so, you know what's really strange, though? So when Becca does sit down with Jordan and David, and she just said to David, she said, like, I feel like one of you is being genuine, and I feel like one of you is lying
she
to me.
confronts David about it, and David, like, you can tell that David never friggin' talks to people, because he goes into the weakest quibble I've ever heard. But he's like, oh, well, I don't know if he said it directly, but, like, him looking at other women, and he was kind of implying it. And then as soon as she leaves, he looks at Jordan, he's like, you're a nasty little food boy. What she does...
A food boy?
Not a food boy. Boy. Yeah. It is an internet term for, like...
I did not know that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Credit to David, he's not incorrect, but that is irrelevant to the current conversation. You lied about what the man said, and that makes you the bad guy.
Yeah, so Becca's just basically like, I'm kind of sick of this. I'm sick of being lied to. I don't like this scenario. I'm going to go with the person who's more sincere, but I'm not ready to get about the rose yet.
Yeah. So she and Jordan drive off, and she's like, David... see ya.
Go rot in the desert.
Yeah, and
Bye.
he does. You see, he's like, my accounting skills have not equipped me for this, and he's like trying to pick up rocks and bash them together to start a fire before night falls.
I don't know if you want to start a fire in the desert, but I guess in the desert it's cold at night.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
then, you know what's weird is that Jordan snapped in that buggy ride or whatever. They're in like a Jeep, a 4x4 that's like super rugged, but like Jordan goes from this vulnerable little boy and snaps back to the arrogant
yeah, when you see
guy.
It, you're like, maybe Jordan has a chance of winning this thing. He's kind of turned a new leaf a little bit. And they sit down and he's like, so here's why being a model is great, and here's why I've got the best body in the world.
Like, I do facial care, I do hair care, I spend 2 hours working out at the gym. It's all about my body and self-care. And Becca is just sitting there going...
And then she's
oh
like...
my gosh,
and
this is
it
all
cuts
about
to her
him.
and she's like, you're just talking about models all the time. And then you see her trying to... She's like, about my family. And he's like, yeah, so let's get back to modeling. It's really, really rough. And then at the end, she's like,
crazy.
Well, bye as well. You're leaving.
Yeah, and he literally starts crying a little bit. And he's just like, really? You're rejecting me? You know, he doesn't say this to her, right? He just sort of says like, okay.
And then he gets on a giant limousine with Bachelor in Paradise painted on the side.
Yes, there you go.
Basically.
So, yeah, Jordan is, unfortunately for me, I liked seeing Jordan cuts. He's no longer on this season of The Bachelorette. However, stay tuned. Jordan will be on Bachelor in Paradise this summer.
Absolutely.
Probably with David. No.
Oh, yes.
Do you think David's coming back?
Okay, here's my concern with David.
Oh, man, I think he's got to leave the franchise.
I hate David. I also don't even think he'd be fun to date for any of the girls. Because his one goal...
boring.
His one goal was also to suicide bomb Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't try to make connections with Becca at all,
like,
save
we
for that
know
first night.
nothing about this person except for the fact that he's griped about...
Yeah.
But you know what's weird is that they had this new series after RA season called The Bachelor Olympic Games, and I think it was I think it was kind of like Bachelor in Paradise, but for the winter. And
what are you talking?
They advertised it
there's
throughout.
there's like a fourth
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so Bibiana was on the promos for that little season, which I did not see. Because if Bibiana was on it, I was not seeing it.
Yes.
But she, too, was the villain that you knew nothing about her.
Yeah.
Because all she did was complain about the other women.
Yup. Yeah, I know. Bibiana's kind of like the David of that season.
Yeah, and she ended up on another one of the shows, which I was like, okay. So I'm thinking that maybe David will show up on Bachelor in Paradise. I don't know.
We need a new term for, like... I think we have the White Knight. I think there's, like, the Dark Knight, too.
Yeah.
Well, no, that sounds cool, though. That's like Batman. But where there's, like... They want to fight the villain, but in doing so, they themselves become the villain.
Yeah, and I would think of who's a really bad villain. I would almost think like Megamind, but Megamind's too cool. Like bad at being a villain.
Bad at being like a bad villain, like a crap villain,
like a crap villain. I don't know. We'll think of one.
Anyways, let's continue.
Becca comes home, and the boys see 2 suitcases go home. They see David's suitcase go home first,
and they party, and
then they see Jordan's suitcase go home. And they're like, "What?"
Yeah. This happens sometimes on 2-on-1s because it's usually between the White Knight and the villain, and usually they both suck as contestants, and neither of them are going to win. The batch will sometimes just send them both home.
So then we have the cocktail party before the rose ceremony, and we have 10 guys left.
We do.
And which means that she's going to eliminate 1 because what we've seen is that she's eliminating 3 guys per episode. She's already eliminated 2, so she only has 1 she needs to eliminate.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the frickin' episode, which I think we have like 45 minutes left at this point.
Is the Chris show.
And it's so painful to watch.
It's pretty bad.
It's so bad.
It's pretty bad.
And okay, this is what I don't get. Oh my gosh, Matthew, maybe you can clarify this. Maybe you can explain this concept to me. We see throughout the seasons of The Bachelor and Bachelorette normal people.
Yeah.
We see people that are like normal. Hi, my name is Bob. I'm an accountant from Philly, and I like my dogs. And you think like, okay, Bob's a perfectly nice guy. And throughout the first 3 episodes, Bob is a decent fella. And then all of a sudden...
Bob twists into like this mask of evil, and all 5 pieces of Elder God Exodia form around him, and he like
the most
destroys San Francisco
thing ever. And this happens all the time.
So okay, I think there are 2 ways to explain this. One way is that whenever a villain leaves, there is kind of a power vacuum.
Yeah.
Where one of the boys wants to like kind of establish himself as like
the alpha male?
I don't want to call it that because we're not like werewolves. But I will say that I think there's a need for attention, because who gets talked about more than anyone? The villain.
Yeah.
So whether this is publicity attention or whether this is Bachelorette attention, I think they're just trying to stand out as the contentious figure.
Now, I wonder if once a villain leaves and then the producers
it's a producer
like,
edit where the producers are like, we need someone else to put into promos.
So, look, dude, Bob, we know you're not going to win. We can tell you're not going to win. Becca doesn't like you. Or she doesn't like you as much as she likes the other guys.
Now, Bob.
Would you like to get a lot of screen time, Bob?
Would you like to say a lot of bad words and be very mean to the other boys, Bob?
You know you're going to get cut anyway, Bob. Here's your chance.
Then Bob is like, yes, I am Klaus. I have transformed into Klaus. I cut open the cows. And... All right, anyways. So yeah, then Bob transforms into Klaus, and I think one of those 2 is the reason why Chris is becoming like this, where Chris was a reasonable person before, but now he pulls aside Becca, and he's like,
oh my gosh,
Becca,
this is so uncomfortable. He's like, why did you not come and talk to me during the group
Why
date
don't you love me more
party?
than the other boys? And she's like, because I don't love you as much as the other boys? Like, I don't know. No good answer to that.
Uncomfortable. And he goes on this long-winded rant
of,
I don't understand. And she's like, well, I felt disappointed that you didn't pull me aside. And he said, well, I don't know. He just kind of turns it around. Like, why didn't you pull me aside?
Yeah, like, I felt like I deserved it after that date. That's why I didn't pull you aside.
And it was just so
I need someone to show they're interested in me, is basically what it came down to for him.
And so Becca kind of cools it off and says, look, I just need some time. And they're by this poolside, and she's just like walked away from him.
Yeah, but then, like in her mind, Becca's pulling out her katana and like slicing him in twain. Like he's cut. Now here's the thing. I don't know whether he's a producer pick by the end.
Oh my gosh.
But before he kind of turns it around a little bit, he does this really, really crappy thing. And this made Wills like my favorite boy in the entire house.
Wills is amazing.
He's a saint because like he was talking to Becca and then Chris comes up and he's like, "Can I talk to Becca?" And Wills is
and this is, mind you, Chris has had his time.
Yeah, he has.
And Becca walked away from him.
Yeah, she did. So Becca's looking up at Chris and then Wills is like, "I just sat down with Becca. I want my time. I haven't had it yet. You already talked to her." And he's like, "Oh, but I just want to steal her away. I just need a few minutes. Oh, I just want a little bit of time." And he's like, "All right, fine. I'll give you 2 minutes." And then he walks away. And Becca, you can tell, is like, mortified. "Don't leave me."
She is mortified. And Chris starts going on this long-winded explanation again.
Yeah. Which is nothing different from what you said earlier. And then Wills comes back and is like,
"Okay, your time's up." Yeah. And then Chris doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. He's like, "No, that was 45 seconds. Come on. Oh, just give me a little more time with her. Come on. I just barely got to talk to her." But Wills stands his ground, and then eventually Chris is like, "Oh, this sucks." And then he runs away. And then Wills and Becca are both like let out this audible sigh of relief.
Gosh,
and they're like,
it was
"All right.
so
back to
uncomfortable."
Then, during the rose ceremony, there's indeed 9 roses and 10 boys.
And we were certain Chris was going to get cut.
Well, yeah, I think he talks to her one more time, and he's basically like, "Do you see
gosh.
potential in me, or do you want to leave that potential behind?" And she's like, "Oh." So we were so sure Chris was going to get cut. We were sitting next to each other. We were like, "Yep, he's gone. Bye, bye, Chris."
Why in the world would she keep him unless he was a producer's pick?
Or we're gonna play a little armchair psychologist here, where maybe him fighting so hard for time with her kind of impressed her a little bit. Like, can you speak for that at all?
I don't know, because like when a guy seems too eager, like they're overzealous, overeager, overzealous, overeager.
Kind of a turn off.
It's suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of suffocating, especially when they're rude to other guys because of it. Like if they don't have the respect for other guys, in the sense that like.
See, okay, I see what
like,
you mean, but that is also kind of
unusual.
It is also kind of unusual because I also have spoken to some girls where like having another guy fight for them is a bit of a fantasy of theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but
not the case for you.
No, it just depends on the context.
Sure.
It depends on the context.
This isn't exactly a fight for nobility.
If 5 minutes ago, the guy was sitting on the couch pouting and saying, "You didn't come and find me," and then 10 minutes later, he's going, "Well, like, I need to spend more time with you." Yeah. It's sending mixed signals, and that's a turnoff for me.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Like, if you're going to be coming after me, then be consistent at least.
Sure, yeah.
Don't change your mind, you know? Yeah. Don't become the victim and then all of a sudden be the predator, you know what I mean? It's just like, why are you doing this? Why are you like preying on me and swooping out the other guys if like you were sitting in the corner saying that I need to pursue you?
Yeah. So Becca hands out her roses, and then it's between Chris and who else?
It's between Chris and I don't even know who. Was it John?
Yeah, I think it was John.
Left.
Yeah, John. It was John. Okay, so it's between her, it's between Chris and John. And then Becca raises her disintegration gun and points it at John, much to our surprise, fires. John barely has time to scream before he is reduced to ash and blown off the set of The Bachelorette by Chris.
And I think John was kind of shocked.
Yeah, he absolutely was, because, like, he seemed sad and the other boys seemed to like him, and then Chris turns towards the camera and he's like, "Huh, nothing personal, kid."
Does he say something snarky like that?
But basically, he's very proud of the fact that he's back on the show. And in the promo for next week,
they are going to
our former hometown now, I guess, but they're going to Leith?
I think they're going to is it
Richmond?
Virginia? Oh, Richmond, Virginia.
I think it's
I
Richmond,
was
Virginia.
going to say Virginia Beach, but
yeah, which is where we used to live.
Yeah, not in Richmond. Though.
And where I half live now, because I go to UVA for school. Yeah, and every time we drive into Virginia, Mom's always like, "Ew, look, Virginia's for lovers." And Becca says the exact same thing, because that's the state slogan.
Virginia is for lovers.
And then afterwards, Mom's like, "Well, Richmond's not very nice, though."
Yeah, Richmond is not a nice town. I was just there for a book signing, and it's a college town, but it's also kind of, I don't want to say poor town, but there are areas of Richmond that are kind of ghetto-ish, which I guess every big city does have these places. And
well, I mean, she went on Sledgehammer date in like an empty warehouse. I figure.
But I'm just saying, it's not like a sexy city.
Right, and Bachelorette does tend to be a very sexy franchise.
You know, I mean, like if they went to Virginia Beach would be a lot sexier than Richmond.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
I would even say Northern Virginia would be sexier than Richmond.
You don't have to say it like, ugh. Richmond. Anyways,
or they could have gone to like Colonial Williamsburg. And done like a battle, like a reenactment battle.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Because they do that. Like,
dang. Yeah, you're right. Would have been an awesome date.
That would have been an awesome group
Mom,
date.
you should produce this show.
I know. I'm telling you, every single time. Matt and I would be great producers of this show.
But yeah, that's the episode.
So thank you so much for joining
Yeah, thanks.
us.
Sorry again for being late.
Yeah, we're really sorry, but then you'll
we'll
get a double dose of us in less than a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we will be on time next week.
We will try to be on time next week.
We will be on time next week.
Yeah, anyways.
We are awaiting a big old moving truck, which shouldn't come till the end of next week. So, yeah.
All right, well, thanks for listening.
Thanks so much. Please like us, like our podcast on iTunes, and check us out on YouTube on a Cloud Podcast. Thanks. Have a great week.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.